So a comment was left for me on my YouTube page of what do I mean by your emotions are valid, but that does not make them true. I am a full-on member of Overthinkers Anonymous. I tend to overthink quite literally because my emotions can and will run rapid. My my thoughts tend to run rampant. So quite literally, when we sit there and say your emotions are valid, but that does not make them true, what I mean to say is that your emotions are completely your own. And the cause of you having those emotions, or whatever the catalyst for those emotions, are completely and reasonably valid. They are fair emotions. We can't control our emotions. But our emotions are not only one colored by our perception, but they color our perception. They are never ending loops. So ever heard the phrase, "Oh, I made myself sad?" And, or as Babyface says, "I hurt my own feelings." Your emotions are valid. No one can sit there and say that your emotions are not valid. But that does not make them truth. And as one of my old colonels used to say, perception is 9/10 truth. Our perception influences our thoughts, our viewpoints, and that perception also comes from our emotions, but it also colors our emotions. This is why I call it a perpetual cycle. Just because your emotions are saying, well, it's like this person doesn't like me, blah, 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 does not mean that is true. We are allowed to have emotions. We are allowed to have hard moments. I am a big sufferer of brain weasels. My brain loves and enjoys lying to me. But that does not mean that the things my brain weasels say or the emotions that my brain weasels are causing or making me feel are necessarily true. And that's the point. Just because we are having emotions on a situation does not mean that is the truth of that situation. And that's the thing, is that for you can't know what you can't know. That's why blunt and honest, open, and effective communication is necessary. There's always going to be times where you get irritated. There will always be times that you get annoyed. But that does not mean that that person is mad. You can be annoyed at a situation. You could be frustrated by a situation, but that does not mean that you are mad at the person. For some, that is true. For others, they can be mad at a person and the situation at the same time. Everyone's different.
I can get out of a situation, a person, myself, and the environment all at once.
You were mad at there wasn't enough caffeine, me for not putting enough caffeine into the fridge, yourself for forgetting to ask me to
Put caffeine in the fridge.
caffeine in fridge, and
My dog for having hair.
all at the same time.
Humans are complex creatures, but you can't only view the world through the lens of yourself. And that's why your emotions aren't
Truth.
always truth. You're not seeing things crystal clear. If you're seeing it through the haze of anger or sadness or anxiety or worry,
or even new relationship
or
energy,
even NRE, absolutely, NRE is a hell of a drug. You're not seeing things clearly.
and as always, have fun.